Hi, my name is Cailey. I am a librarian at Mentor Public Library.
And my name is Meg, and I'm also a librarian at Mentor Public Library.
And we are going to be bringing you a weekly video series called All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg.
So each week we're going to be looking at a different theme. This week's theme is teen fantasy. And don't worry, adults can enjoy these books as well.
And all of the books that we are going to discuss today are available on Overdrive or the Libby app with your library card.
So I'm going to begin with the book. The book I'm going to be starting with is called The Forgotten Book by Mechthild Gläser. This is a really cool mix between fantasy and also any fans of Jane Austen or Jane Eyre, has kind of a creepy vibe. This book takes place in a boarding school with a girl, her protagonist name is Emma. And for Emma, life is going great at this boarding school. Her dad is the headmaster. She's really popular with her friends at school, and she even thinks that her longtime crush is finally going to ask her out. So she is on cloud 9 right now, and life is going good for her. But everything changes one day when she goes into a dusty old library in the school and finds a mysterious old book. And this is not just any normal book. As she comes to find out, this is a very special book where whatever you write inside of it comes true. So it's obviously a very powerful book that Emma wants to keep a secret. The only problem is there are some evil people who also know about this book and are trying to take it from her to do bad things at her school. So Emma is trying all her best, and the only true friend she has is the arrogant, proud, aloof Darcy de Winter. She can't stand him, but as it happens in so many books like these, he ends up being an unlikely ally. So it's a really fun book. It is the first in a series, so that's called The Forgotten Book by Mechthild Gläser.
Darcy, huh? Sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first book that I have for you is also the first book in a series. This one is called Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Came out a little bit ago, but it's still an excellent read. And now is a great time to jump into a new book series. So this book is set in an alternate Netherlands, and it is about a ragtag group of misfits who come together to set out and break into this impossible prison for what is basically the greatest heist of all time. Think Ocean's 11, but with teenage convicts and outcasts. And each member of this less than elite team has their own reasons for being a part of the team and their own motives. But even the smallest snag can mess up this plan. And since none of them play well with others, you know that the plan is not going to go quite according to what they've set up. Of course, things don't go smoothly, and that's where all the fun and action comes in.
Yeah. That sounds really cool. Speaking of misfit tag groups, my book also features something of a misfit tag group, only in outer space. This book is called Aurora Rising by Amie Kaufman. Once again, another first in the series, so it's a great one to start with, and also a great one to start with if maybe you're a little more familiar with science fiction and you want to get into fantasy. It's kind of a mix of both. It's about a guy named Tyler, and he's in a space school, and one of the missions in his school is to lead a group of cadets on a space galaxy mission. And he thinks he's like the best student at his class, and he thinks he deserves the best team, but he gets in trouble, and he actually gets the worst possible cadet team you could possibly get. It is a team of true misfits, people with tech people with anger management issues, jealous, petty, incompetent. It's really hard for him. And if that isn't worse enough, once they set out on their mission, they encounter this planet where this girl named Aurora, the namesake of the title, erupts all of a sudden, and after 2,500 years being crystallized inside this planet, she finally lives again, and to say she's out of touch is a bit of an understatement, and that just drives him even more nuts. So it's like, how is Tyler going to finish this mission, and how is he going to get along with Aurora? It turns out Aurora is kind of the key to the whole story in saving the mission. So it's really interesting. It's a funny fantasy. So it's a good one to get into if you want something more lighthearted. So that's another first in a series. I think it's going to be really popular. The second one actually already came out this spring, but I would suggest starting with the first one, came out last fall, Aurora Rising.
That one sounds like a lot of fun. 2,500 years, you miss a lot.
Yeah, so yeah, please have some patience with Aurora.
The next book I'm going to bring to you is called The Vanishing Deep by Astrid Scholte, and this is about a teenage girl named Tempe, short for Tempest. And Tempest lives on a world in the future where the Earth has been sort of buried underwater, if you will. The sea levels have risen to such a point that the whole planet has basically become a water planet. And the world as we know it today is considered the old world that is hidden below the surface of the water. And people like Tempe are scavengers who go seeking out different sort of artifacts and prizes that they can find in the old world underwater. And they do this for money, basically. And Tempe has quite the motivation because she is trying to save money in order to go to this elite facility where she can save her sister for just 24 hours. Her sister died 2 years ago. This facility specializes in bringing back loved ones for just 24 hours in their secure facility for you to finish your business with them. And Tempe has some really serious questions for her sister, Alicia, about the day she died and what happened to their parents. But once Tempe has finally saved enough money to bring Alicia back, the last thing Alicia wants to do with these 24 hours is be stuck in this facility. So she convinces Tempe to break her out so that they can go and discover the answers to the questions and secrets that they both have. But the facility, of course, is not super happy about this, and they send people after them. So there are people from the facility after them, and maybe some other people who don't really want to see Alicia back on the planet. And this is a great read for 7th and up, I'd say. It's a good younger read because it's not super mature, but it's full of adventure, and it just came out in March, so it's a lot of fun to read.
Nice. An underwater world. I just wish I could go to the beach right now. I want to stuck inside. So definitely would like to read one like that. My last book is, once again, I think all three of mine are first in a series. So this is another first in a series. This is called Crown of Coral and Pearl by Mara Rutherford. Now, it also has a little bit of a water connection as well. It begins in a water village. Our protagonist, her name is Noor, and she lives in the village of Valenia with her twin sister Zadie. Now, this little water village, they have a very set tradition that they live by, which is each generation, one of the crown princes from the nearby mountain village of Ilona will come and marry one of the beautiful maidens from her water village. Now, Nora believes that her twin sister Zadie will for sure get picked. She's beautiful, and Nora feels a little self-conscious because when she was younger, she got in an accident that scarred her face. But as it would happen, Zadie is actually the one who gets in a new accident that prevents her from going to the Mountain Kingdom. So Nora, our protagonist, is selected and chosen, and she gets to visit this land and this mountain kingdom that she's always been so curious about. When she gets there, however, she finds that the crown prince to whom she is now betrothed, he is one cold-hearted man. This is Prince Seelan. She can't stand him, and he's pretty devious, not just cold. But his brother, Prince Talon, now he is pretty nice. He's a nice guy, and she becomes friends with him, maybe into something more later on. But as it would happen, her friendship reveals a lot of secrets about the relationship between the Mountain Kingdom and her water village, including a really devious plot to pretty much destroy her home, her water village home. So as she discovers this, she realizes her unique position in the Mountain Kingdom, she may have to do some spying to try and save her family and her home. So that's a really good epic. It's like an epic fantasy that is really interesting. So there you have it.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to talk about is called Reverie by Ryan La Sala. And this is about a teen boy named Cain. And Cain is not having an easy time right now. That could be because he recently woke up half dead in a river next to a burned building with no memory of how he got there, or really no memory of himself. It also could be that he's apparently being haunted by some sort of shadow creature that wants him dead. And it could be that he discovers he apparently has superpowers. But it also could be that he just has to go to high school every day.
Yeah.
So he goes to school with no memory and finds these friends who, at least they say they're his friends, he doesn't really remember, tell him that he's been a part of this group called the Others. Turns out these kids also have some sort of powers, and they've been working together to disassemble these reveries. The reveries are sort of alternate realities that are trying to force their way into our world. And if they're not unraveled, they can take over. And so the Others, this group of teens, have been working together with their powers to try and take down the reveries before they take over. But this is dangerous work and difficult if you don't really remember what you're doing. And it's also difficult for Cain because he doesn't know who to trust and what is the way he would have behaved before and if that was right. And also there's the shadow demons coming after him or something. So there's a lot happening here, trying to figure out who to trust before the shadows close in on him. This is also an LGBT fantasy, so it does have characters who fall under that category, but it is an epic book that you just cannot put down.
Wow. Well, thank you, Cailey, and thank you for everyone who's been watching, for listening to us talk about our books, and we thank you for joining us for our very first All Booked Up. So next week, we are going to have a new theme, and we are going to be looking at books that are updated classics for adults.
Yes, we're going to be taking on some titles that we may have read back in high school or college and taking these classics and turning them on their head, updating them for modern day. Same themes, same fun, and it should be a lot of fun for us.
Yeah. So once again, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Happy reading.